have with me today OG.
OG.
Yes, OG from the radical community. Man, I have known Christine now for probably almost 10 years, I guess.
Almost, yeah.
Yes, and I am excited to talk to her today about what she's up to, what she has going on, her experience in the radical community, and just some tips and insights and strategies you can use, whether you're a mom, whether you're building a business, whether you're trying to do more with social, or just simply build your brand with more confidence. So welcome to the Teen Radical Member Spotlight, Christine St. Ville.
Well, thank you so much, Doreen. I'm so excited to be here. I'm like, this is like deja vu. And like, I'm just, when we were doing the conferences years ago, like we were able to do these videos together and then words. And I'm like, oh, we're back. I'm excited.
Yeah. So, first of all, just tell everybody a little bit about you, who you are, what you do, and how you play big in this world.
Absolutely. So hello, everyone. My name is Christine St. Ville. I'm known online as Moms in Charge because it's a blog that I started back in 2012 when I wanted to empower moms to go after their goals and dreams and to understand that you didn't have to sacrifice those things because you were a mom. And so that blog grew into a business. That business grew into another business that I have, which is Purpose Driven Media, where I help small businesses to really leverage the power of social media and understand the purpose behind what they post, behind what they share, and really help them to optimize their social media platforms and be able to build strategy for their businesses. So I am just excited to be here because my journey really did start at the Get Radical conference back in 2012. So
yes. And, one of the things that I absolutely love about you, Christine, and about what you represent is the idea that it takes time to build and grow. And you have been a part of this community for, like I said, since 2012. And since that time, you've come to the conferences, you've been inside of my coaching programs, but then you've also grown and expanded and connected with other communities and connected with other programs, but in the same sense, still staying connected to this radical world. And just share, where were you when you first discovered me, Get Radical, and what were you most excited about at that time coming into this community?
Whew, okay, how much time we got? Okay, so and it's funny, like if you guys don't believe me, I legit wrote about the Get Radical conference in my book. You can literally go to page 94, whose shoes are you wearing? But that's how much it changed my life. But when I found out, I think somebody invited me to an author event that you happen to be a part of. And at that time that I came, I literally, the year prior, I had left my corporate job when I was 6.5 months pregnant with my third child, didn't have a backup plan, had planned to go back to work, but then was off work. And I was like, I can't leave my babies. Like, I need to figure out what I'm doing. I was literally just coming out of a period of postpartum depression when somebody invited me to this event. You happened to be at the event and you talked about your Get Radical event, and you were talking about what it was, what getting radical meant. And I was like, I need to be there. Like, I don't know how. I need to be there. And, I was like, I don't know. I need to be not only there, but I knew I needed to be VIP because you had all of the amazing people there. And I was like, okay, this is $700. Like, let me tell my husband, I know I'm not working, but I need this and I need the VIP. Like, I can't just go general session. And for me, like, that was a huge step out of my comfort zone to begin with, because one, I'm very much an introvert. I don't really like big crowds of people, and then especially going by myself. And this was literally, I think, like 2 weeks before your event, maybe. So it was close. And I was like, I ain't have nobody to go with me, but I was like, I really need this. And I tell everybody, like, the first thing is to really step out of your comfort zone. Like, I don't even know where I would be, like, had I not gone. I went back and forth. Like, I was still nursing at the time, but I was there, and it was the most amazing 3 days that I had ever had. Stepped out of my comfort zone. Back then you could not pay me to speak in front of anybody. And literally, during those 3 days, you had opportunities for people to share their takeaways of what they were learning. And I kept hearing God telling me, like, you need to get up and share. And I was like, there's 500 women in this room. I am not getting up to share anything. And literally, I waited until the very last day on that Sunday. I don't even know what I said, but I got up and shared one of my takeaways, sat down, and I was like, I'm still alive. Like, I'm still here. I'm still alive. And I knew that I needed more. And so I ended up, signing up for your program, and have just learned so much. Like, I was blogging before I came. But shortly after working with you, coaching with you, I realized it was a hobby and I was playing around and not really making it into a real business. And so we rebranded into Moms in Charge, got serious about blogging, became a business, worked with some amazing, amazing brands over the years like Disney and AT&T. But it really started with me coming to the Get Radical conference, doing it afraid, like my shirt says, and just taking a chance on myself and taking a chance on the things that I didn't know that I needed.
Right. And oh man, you said so much. I don't want people to miss all of the nuggets that you shared in that. Number one, going back and forth. Mm-hmm. People do this all the time. Am I going to go? Am I not going to go? Am I going to enroll? Am I not going to enroll? Yeah. And we can back and forth ourselves right out of our destiny. Mm. And so when you were in that place, I don't know, should I, maybe, I don't know. What was it that really put you over the edge?
You mean when I got up?
When you decided to come to the conference? When
I finally decided, oh my gosh, well, honestly, I think it was just, I was in a place where I knew I had been there and I wasn't going to get anywhere further by myself. I didn't really know much about entrepreneurship. I kind of dabbled in like network marketing things before, but I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship. I didn't have really any mentors who were where I thought where I wanted to go. And for me, again, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was like, when I saw what was being provided, and, even back then you were doing videos, with your speakers and just talking about what was coming. And so I remember watching the videos and it was like, listen, like, you need to make a radical move. If you're ready for a radical change in your life, you need to make radical moves. And literally that for me, like, spoke a lot to me, because I was like, yeah, like, I'm not really going to get where I want to go by myself. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I needed to come and see what it was about.
Right. And then making the decision to come by yourself.
Nerve-wracking. Like, I know it sounds small to some people, but like, literally, I was like, oh my, you said it's going to be how many people? Like, I don't know people. Like, I'm that type of person. This, all this holiday shopping stuff, like, that is not me. I stay in the house. I just don't, I'm very much an introvert. So, and I had to kind of change my mindset in thinking, okay, who can I meet, right? Who are these people that I need to get around? And, I need a new circle of people, because the people that I'm around right now, they're not doing the things that I'm trying to do. So I looked at it as an opportunity to expand my network and start to learn from other people who are also maybe in the same space, or maybe they, have gotten out of that space, but were in a similar space before.
Right. And one of the things that I think has been so instrumental in the success that you've had and the progress that you've made is staying connected. And one of the things that is so important to me is that while we have this Get Radical conference, we have these amazing 3 days together, it's not just these 3 days. Mm-hmm. It's the community that goes along with that on the 3 days. And so when you think about being a part of the radical community and all of the other events and other people that you've met inside of this community, what is it that really resonates with you the most when it comes to connecting with community?
Oh my goodness. I mean, first of all, I'm still friends with a lot of the women that I met that first year at the Get Radical Women's Conference. And I think that, you know, for me, it really just solidifies the fact that when we go to events and things like that, like we have to be intentional. We have to set the intention ahead of time. And so for me, like it really just kind of elevated where I am now, you know, being able to network better, being able to decide like if I'm going to an event, what do I want to get out of it? You know, the women that came year after year that I, you know, attended, like it was like a family reunion. I mean, literally when you announced that you were having it again, like I had people texting me like, did you see she's coming back? I was like, yes. So it was like a family reunion. It was a safe space. You know, I knew that even outside of your coaching, like if I needed, you know, an opinion or I needed somebody's feedback on something, I can reach out, you know, to those women that I was able to connect with. So it was so much more than just, okay, I'm coming to this event and I'm gonna leave everything there. Like it literally was a community and a place that I still have relationships from that time, like back in 2012.
Yes, yes, yes. And since that time, your business, you started out with Moms in Charge, blogging, coaching women to be able to be fly moms and manage family and motherhood and still being their own woman and if they're career based or entrepreneur based. And then you kind of grown that platform into another company, Purpose Driven Media, where you work with major brands and entrepreneurs and business owners around their social media strategy, around their online presence.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at your entire journey in terms of entrepreneurship, what were a couple of the biggest lessons that you learned along the way that you could share that would help somebody tuning in right now build and grow their business?
Absolutely. So I remember one of the things that, you know, shortly after we started coaching, I still think about it to this day. Like if I'm getting overwhelmed or I'm like, should I take on this project or should I take on this client? I remember you telling me, because around the same time, I also had just started homeschooling when I was starting my business. And, you know, you reminded me that I had control over what I put on my plate and, you know, understanding how to prioritize and understanding that everybody's emergency is not my emergency. And so when it comes to business, like I've been able to say, okay, that looks like a great opportunity, but is it really the right opportunity? You know, is it really going to impact me? Is there a return on investment? Is there something, you know, that I'm going to get out of it? Or is it just, you know, going to look nice, right? So I've been able to really just carry that through me, and it helps to make those tough decisions to figure out, like, do I really need to do this or not? And then just, again, like I cannot stress the importance of getting out and coming to events like yours, because those are the times that I connect with people who have what I need, whether it's somebody that knows how to build a funnel, whether it's somebody that, you know, does bookkeeping or accounting or graphics. Like I always come out of these events with connections with people that, you know, I'm able to either help or they're able to help me. I mean, these communities, you know, I've gotten referrals from people, I've referred people, you know, being top of mind for somebody else is a great thing. But if you're not getting out and you're not going to these events like Get Radical, you're not going to be able to build your network like you need to.
Right, right. And we all know that when you're building a business, being able to network, connect, and market in a way that gets you referrals, that creates relationships, all of those things are important. And a lot of them start when you step out from behind the computer, when you step out from behind your desk and get into the space of real, living, breathing, talking people.
Yes. And can I just share also, because I shared, you know, that I was terrified of even just public speaking. But now, like, I'm literally paid to speak. I've done keynotes. I'm doing a keynote on Wednesday. Like, the things that happen when you step away from behind your comfort zone and when you step out of your comfort zone, like, you will be blown away by what can happen.
Right. And knowing that you are an entrepreneur, you're a wife, you're a mom, you homeschool, there has to be times when frustration sets in. There has to be times when overwhelm steps in, or simply things aren't going as you want. And yes, we always have control over what's on our plate, but sometimes the things that we put on our plate is like, oh, so for you, when the deal doesn't come through, when the client you thought you were going to get, you didn't get, when the client you have is getting on your nerves, when all of the things, when the target that you were going for didn't quite make it, the goal fell a little short, like what do you do to get back on track and then go for it again? Because many times people can have a setback, a disappointment, and it can take them out, right? They can be just out for the count.
Yes.
But they got to get back in the game. So can you share some times when that's been your situation in your business, and then how did you bounce back?
Yeah, I mean, it happens. Like, it's happened recently for me. And I think the important thing, again, is I just can't stress enough the community, but also when you have community, you can also build accountability groups. You can build accountability partners. You can tell people. So I know when I get in that space, I have people that I can reach out to, my husband being one of them, because he will give me a lecture like, okay, but this is what you said that you wanted. So, okay, how are we going to move past that?
Right,
and start, doing what we need to do. So you need to make sure that you have people who will hold you accountable and won't allow you to sit in that defeat, to sit in that disappointment, to sit in that failure, because that's when it will, like you said, it'll just take you out. So I've gotten to that place. I've gotten frustrated with clients. Deals haven't gone through. Clients haven't gone through. And so mindset is huge. Like, I do a lot of work, just on mindset, whether it's reading books, watching different things. Mindset is just everything. And then just being clear about my goals. I, keep my goals in front of me. I go back and I read those things in my plan. I'm like, okay, well, why am I frustrated? Where is this coming from? What did I say I wanted to do? And how can I move the needle, again? So I think it's just making sure that you're staying focused, that you have tools and resources to keep your mindset in check, and that you have people, like, not people who are going to be your yes, your yes girls and all this other stuff, but people who are really going to be like, okay, like, I understand, but how are we going to move forward?
Right. And I think just to pull out some of the key components of that, number one, mindset. Anyone who's been around Team Radical for any period of time knows that it is really what is right here that determines what you create out here.
Yeah.
And it's been my experience that people can get the best information, they can get the best tools, they can get the best resources. If you are an entrepreneur, you can get the best marketing funnel, you can get the best person to do your Facebook ads, you can get the best person to write your copy. But if you are afraid to put yourself out there, whether you have a fear of success, a fear of failure, fear of being judged, fear of overwhelm, fear of looking stupid, whatever those fears are, if you don't manage the mindset, your thoughts, behaviors, your belief, your self-talk, then you will never reach the highest level. You can make some progress. I'm not going to say it's all or nothing, but there is another level that's available when you deal with the internal mindset that could be holding you back. And so when you think about your own mindset, some of the thoughts, behaviors, beliefs that you have to change over the years, what were some of those for you, and how has it made a difference for you?
Sure. So I think a lot of it obviously was feeling that I was not experienced, because, I coming from corporate world, and, that's all I knew. And then coming here and then trying to say, oh, now I write, and, now I'm a blogger and I can do all these things. So for me, it's been, okay, how can I invest in my own, whether it's been coaching. I've always had a coach. I've always had somebody, a mentor, somebody that I've looked up to, somebody that I've been able to bounce ideas off of, somebody who's levels above me, because they can help check me, you know what I mean? And so even when I don't realize it, it's a mindset thing. Usually it is, like, because there's certain reasons, like I think you touched on it earlier, but sometimes we don't move. We make excuses, for example, maybe for launching a new product. Oh, I got to get this landing page right. Oh, I got to do this. When really you're not doing it because there's some kind of fear, there's some kind of mental shift that is keeping you from wanting to do it. So we find all of these excuses. So for me, I've learned when something is not going right, I kind of take a step back and I ask myself, one, why am I feeling that way? Two, where is this coming from and how can I move it forward? Because, a lot of times we, like you said, we push, what we're feeling on the inside and it comes out on the outside. And sometimes we don't even realize it. We don't even realize it. And so for me, it's been about, okay, how can I, make this shift for myself? How can I, continue to push forward? Because there's going to be times that, things just don't work out and we have to figure out how to move past that.
Yes, absolutely. And what's also key is that it doesn't happen overnight.
Oh my gosh. Hello, like it's a daily thing. Like it is literally a daily thing. We were talking even before, it's like, oh my gosh, like it is completely every single day. Like, I was sharing with you, okay, we launched our planner. Like, again, it's our 6th edition of doing this, but it's still like, okay, we got to get all these things together. We got to, if things doesn't go right, it's like back, self-talk. Like it's a lot of self-talk, like just in terms of what you're doing.
Yeah, lot
every day
of self-talk. And other thing that you pointed out, which I think is key, is the self-reflection and the self-assessment. To ask yourself the tough questions, because sometimes it's you.
Mm-hmm. And it has been, yes.
We can look out and say, oh, my husband, my wife, my clients, the economy, my boss, my this, my that. And we can, again, come up with those excuses and integrate these people into the reason why we don't, the reason why we can't, or the reason why it didn't work out. But if we take a step back and start asking ourselves some of these tough questions, okay, what happened? What role did I play? What do I do differently? What's the lesson in this? Then not only do we get clarity about what happened, we also get lessons to keep it from happening in the future. And that improves our self-talk as well, knowing where we are, how we got here, and what lessons we can take from it.
Absolutely. And that's just something like even in the last year, like I've had to really be intentional about that. And I'll write it down in my journal, like, okay, there's a block, somewhere. Why am I having this block? Where is this stemming from? And really being more intentional about that self-awareness and asking myself the tough questions, because like you said, sometimes we look outside and it's like we're the ones that are holding ourselves up.
Right. Now, we know that you have kind of 2 companies, your Moms in Charge and your Purpose Driven Media. And so I can't let you get away without sharing some great insights and tips around both of those. So tell us about Moms in Charge, what you do with that, and then 3 insights you can give to moms out there who are navigating all of the roles that they have.
Absolutely. So Moms in Charge, and that's Moms in Charge, no I, everywhere. But it really is about taking charge of your life, taking charge of every aspect of your life, whether that's your family, whether that's your friendships, whether that's, other relationships, your job, your career, and understanding what that means for you. I think that even now with social media, it's so easy to be so hard on ourselves. Like we're like, oh my gosh, like this mom is cooking a 7-course meal and every day, and she's got this. Or listen, that's not me, and I'm okay with that. Like, you have to decide like what is right for you, and most importantly, you have to give yourself grace. I think that was like, just something that I had to learn along the way, something that you said numerous times as well. Like, you have to give yourself grace. You have to decide what is your priority. And sometimes that means that you might have to take something off your plate for now, and you can bring it back later. But it doesn't mean that you can't have it all, but sometimes you have to, you know, pick and choose in terms of what your priorities are. And so, you know, I would also just say, like, surround yourselves with other moms. Like, I was in a lot of Facebook groups with moms when I first, you know, even before I started blogging. That's actually what inspired my blog, because I would see and hear other moms just talk about, you know, oh, I can't wait to do X, Y, and Z, you know, when my kids start school. And then it would be like other moms like, okay, well, what do you need help with? Sometimes we have to create our own resource. Like, I've talked to so many moms who are like, I can't do this because I don't have family around me. And it's like, listen, we got all this technology. We got meetup.com. We got all of these things that are out there, and so many other moms in your area who need the same support. Like, reach out to people. Connect and make your own, you know, support group, right? So it's no longer an excuse to not have support. It's just a matter of getting out there and asking for it. And so oftentimes we're the ones being used to being asked for support that we don't ask for it. And so that was like another huge lesson that I had to learn how to ask for help, and then also learn how to say no. You know, I come from a huge family. I'm one of 7. And so there's always something going on. And so when I was in that transition of trying to start my business, trying to homeschool, it was like, okay, I need to learn how to say no, like, even to my own family. Like, I have my own family I'm starting, but you know, now I have to learn how to set boundaries.
Right, right. And setting boundaries is huge for people.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you probably heard me say this as well, you know, we train people how to treat us. And when we allow people to infringe, or when we don't have boundaries, and we're saying yes when we want to say no, we're saying no when we want to say yes, and, you know, we're making other people's emergencies our priorities, when we're doing all that stuff, then we want to set boundaries, but then we have to stand on the boundaries that we set, and not be moved, because you will be tried.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, I wrote a whole chapter on no is a complete sentence, because I had to learn different ways to say no, because I was so used to saying yes, and because people were so used to me saying yes. It was like, okay, you need to learn how to pause, you know, and then come back. Or if you can't say no right away, like, how can you just pause and say, let me think about it? Like, I had to learn how to get my voice back, really.
Yes. Now that's a word right there. Getting your voice back.
Yeah.
And then using that voice in order to be able to stand for what it is you want to create for your own life and family.
Absolutely.
Yes. And now with purpose-driven media, tell us about that, and share a couple of tips for those entrepreneurs out there that are building their brands.
Absolutely. So it was an evolution of my blogging business. Through blogging, I have been working with brands, doing different campaigns, hosting Twitter chats, doing all of these things, being a part of influencer campaigns. And so then it became word of mouth when people were like, oh, you know how to use social media. You've been able to grow your following and kind of build that. And how do you do that? So it basically has been word of mouth for the last few years, you know, building out purpose-driven media. And it was because, like, I realized that when I would connect with these other businesses as entrepreneurs, and they would ask me, like, why they're not seeing any traction, and I would go and look at their social media profiles, it's like, okay, well, one, it's all over the place. 2, it's confusing. There's no real cohesiveness between your brand and what you're posting. And so it became me just trying to really help other entrepreneurs to really grow their brand. You know, I was able to kind of build like a media profile because of what I was doing on social media. And so it became a part of that. And so I built a social scoop community where I give lots of tips and things like that. But one of the things that I always try to tell people, especially small businesses, when you're trying to grow your brand, is to really think about it as if you are at a live networking event. So often, you know, they're like, ooh, if I can just get my product or my service in front of this person, like, they're going to love it. They're going to want it. But they forget about the relationship building. And relationship building is so important, even on social media. And so, you know, when you're trying to grow your brand, like, start with building relationship. You know, are you commenting on the person's social media posts that you want to do business with? Are you, you know, sharing their content? Are you doing things that will, when you reach out to them, they see your name, like, oh yeah, that person's always commenting. So really being intentional about relationship building. And then, you know, I mean, I can talk forever about social media. But I think like those are like the two main like challenges that I see like people, I mean, even now people will tag me and stuff like, oh, you should share this. And I'm like, who are you? And what do you do? And, you know, hello, my name is Christine. Like, how about we start there?
Right, right. That relationship building.
Mhm.
And I think so many times people are so anxious or impatient or have such tunnel vision that they forget that these are human beings
Mhm.
on the other side of this.
Yes. And a
And
lot of times they're the actual person of the brand. Like you might think that they got a team behind it, but a lot of times it's the main person that you think is not checking it. It's that person behind the brand that's checking it. And so you really have to kind of be intentional about, you know, what it is that you're doing. And, you know, nothing is overnight. So all of these, you know, this person, I can help you grow your following 20,000 in 2 days. Like, chances are that's not legal. Whatever they're doing, Instagram gonna shut them down. So don't do that. Like, be
right.
okay with one, paying for traffic or paying, you know, doing the right Facebook ads to get your profile in front of more people. Engaging with people. Like, don't be afraid to engage with people. Video content right now is everything. So if you're not doing any video, you are totally missing out on a huge opportunity. I'm talking about Instagram stories, IGTV, Facebook lives, you know, whatever you can do to add video to your overall strategy, you're going to see a huge difference in that, because people want to get to know who you are. They want to know who that is behind the brand. And so that builds that like, know, and trust factor.
Yeah. And I think it's so important to remember that numbers in terms of followers aren't always the measuring stick.
Listen, say that again. Because the number one thing, like I try to get clients who come to me, their first thing is like, I want to grow my following. Okay, and then what? Like, what are these numbers going to do? How about we work backwards? Like, what is the goal? What do you want to take people? Because you want to make sure that you are getting people off of social media and onto your email list. We just had Facebook and Instagram down again, the busiest shopping weekend of the year, and Facebook and Instagram were down. Like, and I was like, okay. Like, but most people who have their systems and proper things set up, they were like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So to your point, like the following is really, doesn't even really matter, because I've seen people who have had close to 100,000 followers and they'll get like 2 comments. And I've seen people who have had less than 1,000 followers and they'll get 20, 30 comments when they post. So you really want to look at the engagement. You want to look at, are people taking action when you post? Are people taking action, you know, when you say, hey, I have a new product or a new service? How are you building that community, that engagement? Because that's what really matters.
Absolutely. The engagement with the people who want to hear from you.
Yes.
You know, so many times we get caught up in how many are on the list or how many are following. But if they don't want to engage, if they don't want to hear from you, if they don't want to be a part of what you have going on, then it's just a number. And it's not doing anything in your overall strategy.
It's really not. It's really not.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Christine. I want to, before I let you go, I want you to tell people how to connect with you, and then also just share a couple of reasons why coming to the Get Radical Women's Conference can be the best decision you can make in terms of setting yourself up to create the life you want.
Absolutely. So I'll start with that because, again, like this is so, you know, this is not a commercial. This is not me, okay, trying to promote Doreen. Like literally, this conference changed my life in 2012 when I went. And so if you are struggling with where you are in your business, if you are struggling with where you are in your personal life, I can honestly say that this conference will change your life. Like I don't have to think about it. I don't have to say, well, maybe, because I've been there. And when Doreen was like, oh, this is the last one, I mean, we all looked at her like, what you mean this is the last one? Like, no, we have to have more. So I will absolutely say, do whatever you have to do to make sure that you're in the room.
Yeah.
Whether you have somebody with you or not, whether you're going by yourself, people are holiday shopping right now, like treat yourself to this amazing event because you deserve more. The theme for our 2020 planner is believe. And so with 2020, having so much, we have vision, believe, like if you really want to start believing in what you can do, what that God put you here to do, you need to be around people who can help to pull out those things, because a lot of times we don't see the gifts in ourselves. We don't see what we're capable of until we're put in a room like the Get Radical Conference with other women who are like-minded, who are, going to hold you accountable, who are going to love on you, who are going to, push you when you're feeling down. And so I absolutely cannot say enough about the power of the Get Radical Conference, the community, what you're going to walk away from. It will absolutely blow you away. And so there's really nothing else that you need to know. Just sign up, register, go. Be in the room.
And I would say, Christine, you were 2012 and 2013 and 2014. Like, Christine has just been in the mix every year since she came, and she's been doing our social media. I brought her on when I built Steve's platform, Act Like a Success, brought over her purpose-driven media company to there, work on that, and now we're back with Get Radical, and I'm just so grateful. I've just loved watching your journey. You're an amazing mom, amazing businesswoman, such a giving spirit, someone who can handle their business, but also is someone who knows what it means to serve. And so let people know how they can connect with you.
Thank you, Doreen. It is a pleasure, and I thank you for creating this space. It's needed, and I'm so grateful that you said yes again and it back. I think that is perfect timing, and that people will definitely be blessed by it. So you all can connect with me. I am at my everywhere on social media. Also Purpose Driven Media on Facebook. You can join our Social Scoop Facebook group where I have trainings in there. We connect with other small businesses and do social media tips, strategies, resources, tools. So that's what that's about.
And if you want to connect with Christine in person,
yes, I will be in the building
in March at the Get Radical Women's Conference. She'll be the one handling social media.
Yes, I will be in the building. So make sure that you say hi, make sure you tap me on the shoulder, all of that good stuff.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Christine. I so appreciate you. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Doreen. I look forward to seeing you too. Bye.